welcome to the second episode of X-Ray in the River, where we X-ray different issues, bedeviling Cross River State, not necessarily bedeviling that impacts on Cross River State and Cross Riverians, of course. And today on the program, we're focusing on issues that have, affected the magistracy in Cross River State, talking about magistrate. For those of you who recall, on the 3rd day of February 2019, 45 magistrates were sworn in by the immediate past Chief Justice of the High Court of Cross River State, Justice Michael Edem, now retired. And of course, 29 of them were from the private bar, while the others were serving in the employ of the Cross River State government. Now, recently, just a few days back, January 2021, we saw some of these magistrates who were engaged from the private bar took to the streets with their robes, protesting non-remuneration since they were sworn in. And of course, the Cross River State government has come out to say, look, these people were not engaged properly. What are the issues that have been? How has this impacted on the justice system in Cross River State? What does it mean having a magistrate and then not paying them? And what other thing is there that may not have been done right? And to X-ray some of the issues bedeviling the judiciary with particular emphasis on the magistracy is Professor Tony Ukam, an officer of the Order of the Niger, legal luminary, who joins us. We're in his chamber to discuss this matter. Let's X-ray the river. Yeah, of course, let's delve down straight to the issues here. Magistrates in Cross River State, of course, recently took to the street to protest the non-payment of their salaries for 2 years. These were the last batch of magistrates engaged. 29 of them actually, they were 45 in number, 29 came from the private practice to be engaged. What was your reaction when you first heard this?
Well, I wasn't surprised.
You weren't surprised?
Yes. The reason being that from both ends, I could see some flaws. The state government and the magistrates themselves. Reason being that you want to take to the street, you need to check back records. You don't just go out, and even by their calling, they ought not to go out like that. Yes, going to the street as if you are a civil servant or as if you are a labor, union. The magistracy is different from an ordinary civil servant out there or a labor union. They have some kind of ethical codes that guide the profession. You have to conduct yourself honorably. But beyond that is the fact that they're supposed to check back on record and also fall back to what I would call their fathers, because they have already been rendered orphans by the government. So they have been orphanaged, and they also want to conduct themselves as orphans.
One of them even brought out 2 of her kids and said, look, she is almost at the verge of being thrown out by her landlord because she can't afford to do any other thing else other than sit in court, and she has not been paid for doing that.
Yes. There was a statement Maman Vatsa made in those days, and he told Babangida when he was being detained, he said, the day you start insulting yourself, others will join you. We have a government, a supposed lawyer as a governor that is ready to ravish and rubbish the judiciary and the sanctity of justice. And then you also play into his hands by going to carry placard like every other person. I don't think it was proper for them to go out in the manner that they did.
But some are saying, look, they have written several correspondences to the governor, to the speaker, to the secretary, to the state government of the state, to the attorney general of the state and of the federation, the Magistrates Association of Nigeria, and of course the National Judicial Council, and what have you. And all this have not yielded any meaningful result. So this was a last resort, exercising their right to freedom of assembly.
That was not the last resort. They have been orphanaged, and they decided to play as orphans. Yes, those that were from private bar, You said they were the ones that came out, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, don't they have fathers in the private bar? They have parents. They have Kanu Agabi. Have they gone to him? They have Ndomegba. Have they gone to him? They have Joe Agi. Have they gone to him? Paul Irokoro. I mean, I'm talking of the living legend. Let's not talk about Richard Efa and Loyan Sefik and Aniekan or maybe Ekombasi. Those ones are blessed memory. What of the living legend? Have you gone to them? Have you consulted even somebody like me here with them, who on my own in 2016 went to court on behalf of magistrates, and I'm here with them? Have they come consulting me? That is the problem we have here. We don't recognize our fathers. And so when destiny is challenged, we take it by our own hands as if we don't have fathers, even the living fathers. And so to me, I just look at them that the way you are being treated is just like a man, the way you dress is the way you are dressed. So the way they have conducted themselves, that is their take. Because there is a way, I know that even this government, Afayade, that the judiciary can also hold him not just accountable, but hold him to his task.
What way is this, sir?
Well, there are better organized ways. Do you think that the judges are well taken care of? And if they are not talking, why are they not talking? Do you think the magistrate, I have this thing here, I remember in 2018 or 2016 that I went to court, and it was at the Federal High Court in 2016. It was Tony Ukan versus the government of Cross River State. What was it all about? The judiciary. The enslavement of the judiciary. The fact that the judiciary has been completely deprived and depraved. Do you know that the judges in Akwa Ibom State and the lawyers, the magistrates in Akwa Ibom State are well taken care of? If you see even the cars given to them, their domestic accolades or attaches, and every other benefit, up to Ebonyi State here. So Cross River is suffering, and I have to, on my own, as a private lawyer, sue on behalf of the judges and the magistrates in the state. There was even a memo that a scheme of service for magistrates endorsed by the Attorney General of that time in 2015 on behalf of the magistrate. Have they tried to trace record? Have they tried to trace their history? Is it just going on the street as if they are beggars? The dignity of that profession is such that you are not even supposed to do that.
How does the remuneration of people who wield they obviously wield the power to limit someone's freedom as well as properties and all that? How will it, now they are non-remuneration. Do you think it has impacted on the justice system? You use the term depraved.
Yes.
Do you think it has impacted on the justice system?
Impacted how? Negatively or positively?
Whichever way you look at it.
Very negatively. Very negatively.
How?
And because in fact, if you say 40 or 50 magistrates, we need more than that. The capacity of the state, we need up to maybe 100 magistrates to take care of so many. There are so many jurisdictions that no magistrate is operating for the past 2 years. But those magistrates are there, lying waste. Customary court, the same thing. Just like you can see the Nigerian the newspaper corporation. Like what kind of government is this? What is all this nonsense? Everything lying waste. Justice in a system is lying waste. Up to my community, Abanwanere, the chief magistrate there is lying waste. The magistrates that have been appointed, they are not functioning. It's not as if there is no demand for justice in the state. It's not as if everybody, the whole Cross River State is a graveyard legally or justice-wise. And nobody is talking. Nobody is ready to say anything. And those that are talking are not following the right channels. You don't expect a magistrate that is not even supposed to come out of being on the bench. You step out of the court and enter the same taxi with because you are judging people, sending them to prison by the power bestowed on you as a magistrate. You pass sentence on people up to death sentence. You are not expected to come out and enter the same car, the same taxi with the ordinary, because your life will be is at stake. There is danger in it. How much more marching on the street? Marching on the street to the governor as what? As a beggar. Whereas there is a senior brother of yours that have taken up the judiciary, taking up a case against the government on the independence of the judiciary.
So in essence, you are saying we don't have enough magistrates and judges?
We don't have at all, and they are not talking. They are not also ready to take to trace back history. They are not ready to look for those who can help them. They are not ready.
Magistrates and high court judges, do you think we will have to be able to, say, okay, we have come at to a standard where people will have comfort, justice will be dispensed in time also?
Well, there was a time I compiled a list of magistrates here. During the time when I was doing this case, I recall I went to Federal High Court and declined jurisdiction. They pushed me to High Court and so on. Judges, the High Court were also running away from the case. And we had, during Donald Duke, it was like having a judicial strength of about maybe, Cross River judges presently between 10 to 15, and we need about 50. Then magistrates about maybe 50, and we need about 150.
Wow.
So yes, the state is very big, up to Goja and most of these places today. There is no part of the state that is not, economically viable. Up to Bakassi, Ikang there is economic activities, commercial activities going on, and you need a magistrate because there will be friction arising from even the present crime that is coming up today. It's almost in every locality. There were those days, I remember my early years in law, anything called kidnapping was too strange. It was in our criminal code, but we didn't have understanding what it was all about. But today we can see the unfolding of events. There are so many things that are coming up that need to be treated. Just as you need police, you need a lot of police to be injected into the system. You need a lot of army to be injected into the system because the population is also escalating. The same thing as population is escalating, crime is also escalating, and justice should match up with it.
Okay. Now, the Attorney General of the State and Justice Commissioner, Tanko Ashan, came out to say that, the appointment of these magistrates were fraudulent. What's your reaction to that?
No, it is very unfair of him. If I am in a position to tell him to resign for that statement, it's not only indicting, but it's self-inflicting. Why? If you go to check the list of the magistrates and when they were appointed, you'll be surprised that all of them, including the Office of the Attorney General, gave their list. Ayade himself gave his list, not one, not twice, not two. In fact, some of the people that were appointed by Ayade, I know some of them, who said it was a slot from the governor. At a point, he blocked the process until his own list was considered. So and most of the boys or most of those people that are appointed are not just Cross Riverians, but they were either from his community or they were part of his PA or SA or of the party. They are from the party, and in any case, I should have even the bias that these are Cross Riverians. So it's too unfair to say that.
There is a discussion that probably they will be relieved of their jobs. Do you see that?
Who will be relieved?
The magistrates.
How do you relieve them? Look, the penalty of relieving even one person, can the state pay for it? Do you know the damage caused to these people that they have altered their life? You are in legal practice. Some of us here, like me, if you give me anything, even Supreme Court justice, I won't take it. There are things some of us have resolved. I want to do my private practice. I left Bola Jibola Chambers as a young lawyer with the mentality that I want to fight and become anything, get anything in life, not to go and queue up and wait for salary. I have that mentality from childhood. But there are these people who were in private practice or in some other, then they have to alter. In law, we say you alter your position. If you cause me to alter my position, be ready to pay the damages. So it's not just by mere saying it. In fact, even the delay of that salary is enough for them to ask for damages for the interest, wherever they are keeping that money yielding interest for them. They have the right to insist on that money. And they also have the right, you can't be talking of relieving them when we are asking.
But that is the conversation going on, and it was going to push me to the next question. What then happened to the cases that they have decided?
It's an insult to even contemplate it. It's an insult because these people were not sworn in by area boys, but by the chief judge that had the legal authority in his time, isn't it? So how dare you declare his action illegal? That statement is enough. If it were in Akwa Ibom state or some of these enlightened states, enough to bring that man that made that statement, because it's an affront on the entire the intelligence of every one of us. We need more magistrates, and you are talking of removing those that are already there, or saying that they are not legally appointed. Okay. They were legally appointed.
But can you guide us through the process of getting a magistrate?
I may not know all the processes, but for now, unless I check the record, but I know that they passed through the interview. They were asked to apply, and there was an advert, there was a judicial notice or judicial advert, and people applied, so many, and they were screened. There was a panel to screen them, and they filled form, they did this and that, they passed through the interview processes. And then the few that were selected out of a lot, and they were properly sworn in.
By a chief judge?
By a substantive chief judge, not a retired chief judge. So what makes that process illegal? And has a man in the executive, another arm of government, the right to come and declare an action of another arm of government, the judiciary,
so in essence,
illegal?
In essence, the recruitment of magistrate is actually the job of the judiciary.
Another arm cannot. It's just you do, and then you either the House of Assembly or the executive will only come to either ratify. They have their own part to play, but the quantum of the responsibility lies on the judiciary. You don't expect another arm to appoint for the judiciary. It's never done. And so the another arm also, it does not lie in the mouth of another arm of government to come and declare an act of the judiciary to be illegal. Even if the process was illegal, whatever had been, it's just like judgment. Once a judgment is given, my dear, it's a judgment. Until it is overturned on appeal, we are forewarned never to say that judgment, this and that happened, until you are able to overturn it on appeal. Okay. So even if it was illegal, the fact that judgment has been given, it becomes legalized. So that appointment and swearing in, any other, whatever process is irrelevant.
Now, Prof, I'll push you once more on this. We are pressed for time now. How can we resolve this matter?
Look, we can. It's a simple matter. It's a simple matter. It's just that both the magistrates are not taking the right steps. There are people that would have advised them on what to do. And I'm also not happy with the entire judiciary, because you can't, look, if one of my toe is itching me, the entire body will not be comfortable. Isn't it? Even my finger, what they call wiggle, enter into one finger, or even the tooth. Just one. The entire body won't feel. So why should they be operating as if nothing has happened? Why can't the entire judiciary rise up? Why can't the entire lawyers? I remember when I was MPA chairman, this rubbish can't go. No, it cannot. I will make sure that even the judges, even if you are not ready to go on strike, you don't enter that court. We will close that court. Let Ayade carry everything and do alone. They are not, the judges are not well paid. They are not taken care of. Go and look at their residences. The residence of a magistrate in Akwa Ibom is far 100 times, 1,000 times better than a judge here. The courtroom and everything there of a magistrate, and in some of the states, far better than high court we have here. And let them stop saying they are lawyers. I don't believe they are. And if they are lawyers, then they have failed their constituency.
Thank you very much, Professor Tony Kama.
Thank you.
Officer of the Order of the Niger, and of course, Head of Wisdom Chambers in Calabar. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
That's how we wrap things up on this episode of X-Raying at the River. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cross Riverians TV, and follow our social media handles. Stay in touch.